It's exactly what it sounds like. I was in an apartment that is, actually, you can look it up. It's been, one of the things that's been called is the Phallus Palace, because it's literally, there's just dicks everywhere. Dick everywhere. It's a gallery owner's place in Soho, so it was fun. All right, cool. Naked penis. This is only the second time I've told this story in kind of a group of people, so I'm pretty nervous about it, but I'm excited about it too, because I do feel a lot of love in here, and the world is fucking crazy, you guys. I mean, what the fuck? I'm doing things, it's like I'm wearing cashmere clothing a lot, because if it's gonna go down, I want to be cozy, and what's saving? What am I saving for? I'm supposed to be saving, I don't know what I'm saving. Global warming? I mean, it's like the iceberg. Just bring it back down to earth for a second. So this is a story that it kind of incorporates all the themes of the holiday season for me, which is like trauma. Yeah, right? A little bit of casual stalking, and it's not the kind that's on the mantle or the fireplace, and brotherly love. So I've tentatively titled this "We Need to Talk About Kevin." It's gonna go places. Still working out some of the details, because as anyone who's been through a traumatic experience knows, trauma is really tricky that way, right? It's your body remembers, right? But our brains are trying to protect us from completely falling apart. So it starts with a phone call. And I could say it was tentatively about maybe a decade or so ago. My brother and I were both living here in New York City. He was living in the West Village with my soon-to-be sister-in-law. They were college sweethearts, had a nice little life for themselves. I had just come to the city a few years prior, just kind of coming into my creative self and just exploring the world as a young 20-something mess of a human, because let's fit, you guys were all, the 20s. I was. Maybe you probably weren't. Probably weren't as much. So it's fine. So it was a Jewish holiday, and I say I don't know which one because I'm Reformed Jewish, and so we don't know what Hanukkah or maybe it's Rosh Hashanah. It's one of the days. It's major or it's minor. I don't remember, but I do remember I was at my brother's apartment with him, my sister-in-law, and most of their friends from Colorado who were non-Jews. So it's like a lesson for the non-Jews, teaching them all the traditions of whatever it is, and eating a lot of food and complaining and suffering and stuff. So we finished the holiday. It was fun. Had some wine and stuff. And then the next day, I'm working. I think it was a Saturday. I want to say I was working, which is typical for a freelancer. And I get this call, and immediately, without even picking up the phone, I can sense from the caller ID. This is early 2000s here. I know who it is. I know who it is. It's my brother, and it's just this. He does. It's like this. Hey, hi. This is Detective Rodriguez from the NYPD, and I need to speak with R.A. Rossen. How much do you love your brother? And I'm like, fuck, I just start swearing, just instinctively, go fuck yourself, you're a fucking asshole, you fuck, because he's the type of brother who would do these things. He'd be like, a year before, he'd been like, this is the IRS calling for Ari Rossen, you're being audited, again, and I'm like, you're an idiot, every time I fucking see you, it's not funny. So, I get this call, and I'm just swearing, and he just repeats himself. This is Officer Rodriguez from the NYPD. How much do you love your brother? And I'm like, what? And I pull up the phone, and I see it is a 212 number that I definitely don't recognize. And he's like, continues, and I was like, I realize, oh shit, this is not Matt. I've been swearing profusely at a police officer over the phone. Cool, good move. And And he just keeps going. He's like, how much do you love your brother? I was like, and I just start divulging. I was just like, well, we didn't really get along as a kid. And, like, his hero was Jackie Robinson, and mine was Chopin, and I thought I was going to die of tuberculosis when I was 39. And I'm just, like, telling him way too much information. And he's like, where were you last night? I was like, we had some Jewish holiday thing, and I was there. And he's like, okay, all right, tell me more. And I was like, we've been getting along great. It's been great. I came out to him. He bought me cupcakes at Magnolia's. Like, it's been good. He loves me. He accepts me. It's good. We're good. And then he just says, okay, because we're investigating an incident that seems to have happened. We're just, I need to interview you. Possibly, I've been calling in some friends of your brother and your sister, your soon-to-be sister-in-law, and we might have to bring you down to the station to ask some questions. So little did I know, they'd already been full-on, like, Law and Order SVU, like, interrogating my brother and my sister-in-law in separate rooms, like, at the station, because it was literally about a week before their wedding. And, people freak out. You guys, like, people freak out. People think, like, I don't trust you. I saw you with my, friend eating the falafel, and suddenly it's like, you're cheating. You know what I mean? Like, people freak out. I mean, it's a nerve-wracking time, So they're in separate rooms, and they actually, like, it was SVU. Like, I just imagine, like, Mariska Hargitay just, like, coming in there and just, like, whipping her hair around and, interrogating them and just walking out. Chris Maloney, I'm really aging myself, like, from the 90s, coming in and finish off the job. But so they're interviewed back to back. They're clearly not going to rat on each other. And he just goes down a list of friends of people they know. And he had this best friend at the time, and his name was Kevin. And they both worked together at the same job. They both went to undergrad. They became buddies undergrad. Maybe around the time that my brother and soon-to-be sister-in-law had, become romantically involved. And they'd remain friends. They'd remain really good friends. They're both working together. And so he was a good guy, but there was just kind of something about him. There was something about Kevin that was just a little bit off. Like, he had these like beautiful pools of green eyes that were just like, I love staring into, but like, that's just, I like green. But there was just something, he was quiet, maybe I just didn't sense, I don't know, he was just kind of quiet guy. So they're going to the list of friends, they interviewed everybody, they called people in, asking them where they were. Because what I had come to learn was that my brother and sister-in-law, soon-to-be sister-in-law, had been cleaning underneath their, doing the Sunday cleaning underneath their, dresser and bed and everything, and they had found several recording devices, like underneath, like taped surreptitiously underneath their bed and everywhere around the apartment. And these were like legit devices. They'd been recording for months, like 6 months or more, like on a day-to-day basis. They'd just been running and running and running. And so they eventually like get through all the people that they're interviewing them, and they interview everybody. And they noticed there was something about this guy, Kevin, that was just kind of like a little cagey, right? And he was a little more evasive than everyone else, like they just weren't sure. And they get to it, and they're just like, they let him go, but they just kind of want to run a check on the serial numbers that they found on the devices. So they run the check, and it turns out, like, the serial numbers came back to Kevin's credit card account. So Kevin, eventually, like, they pull him back in, and he admits, like, okay, I arranged these devices. Like, he's super calm, very, like, kind of like a calm ocean kind of dude. And he's like, yeah, I arranged these. I've been really concerned about the relationship. And I care for them so much that I want to make sure everything's okay. They're getting married, and like Officer Rodriguez, not my brother, Officer Rodriguez, is like legit. He's just like, does not add up. So they put the guy in jail overnight, and as if it wasn't crazy enough, like, I just want to rewind for just a moment, just like a piece of my childhood. Like, this is a day that I'd actually been kind of like not so secretly praying for in my soul, because when I tell you we did not get along as kids, like, it was like Mrs. White in Clue, like Madeline Kahn. Like, I hated him so much there were flames on the side of my face. Like, I wanted bad things. Like, yeah, it's true. Like, I was like, please let something bad happen to my brother. And I wished for it actively. You know, like I really disliked the guy, and we just didn't get along. And so that day came. I mean, this time comes, and it's happening, and it's just like, oh shit, you get your wish, and it's like, not such a great wish. And so they let him go. They call Kevin back in, and he eventually admits to it. And they put him in prison for a night. He goes back to work. They have to let him go. My brother files a restraining order. And he's ready to buy a fucking gun. I'm not, he's like freaked out. Turns out like the guy had moved a block away from their apartment to be like literally down, it was like single white male, like down the street from them. He joined my brother's gym, like all these things that like hindsight 2020, you're just like, this is crazy, this guy. And what's even crazier is a lot of their friends, they had all gone to school together. They ended up like siding with Kevin because they felt bad for the guy, and it's just bonkers. So I ended up, and I'm wrapping up in just a minute here. I ended up being so pissed, and it was like not just because of like it's absolutely traumatic and scary, but also like fuck you, Kevin. Like you're not even in my family. Like that's my brother. If anyone is gonna like fuck with it's gonna be me. Like you're a fucking asshole. You know what I mean? Like fuck you. But yeah, I mean they had to continue to work together at their job. They for whatever reason, like the bizarre legalities that exist in like HR, like you can't like separate people, and it was like this big whole thing, and they've since moved on with their lives, thank God. I don't know whatever happened to Kevin, but like, don't name your maybe don't name your kids Kevin. I don't know, like there's like Home Alone 2, Home Alone 2 doesn't work out so great for him, and then like Home Alone 3, which is basically like we need to talk about Kevin, the movie, which like spoiler alert, he fucking kills everybody, you know what I mean? So it's like it's bad. And the bottom line is, like, in spite of my complicated relationship with my brother, it's still not perfect. It's never going to be perfect, probably. Trauma is weird, and it's imperfect, and it's messy. But I love him. I mean, I love my brother. And, like, at the end of the day, blood is thicker than water, and blood is thicker than Kevin. So that's pretty much it, you guys. Thank you so much. And hold each other close. Thank you.